Well, before we go any further, let's go ahead and bring these wheels back. I'll just click on the icon over here in the outliner, and let's bring those wheels back. And okay, well, we can kind of see where we're headed there. Let's now work on the bumper here, on the front bumper. And this particular image has this black piece here, and I don't think I want that. I think there are other images that we can look at that don't have that. So I'm going to click Image and go to Open. And let's try this one here. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, that one looks pretty good. As a reminder, I'm blocking this out with very basic forms. You can see here, and I think I mentioned this earlier, that I'm not getting this curved part or this curved feature of these insets here. And ultimately, we may. It very well could be that as we take a look at this, once we get all the pieces in place, then we can go back and add little details that we think we might need. So, for example, like this inset here, we could select these edges and then bevel these edges. We could then right-click, go to bevel edges or Control B. So I'll just press Control B and we could drag these out, scroll the mouse wheel, add more edges to it, and curve these edges a bit so it has more of that rounded feature to it. But I don't think that's something we're going to do quite yet. And that's because you can see it adds polygons to it. So currently we're down here at about 14, almost 1,500 tries. But if I press Control Z to go back and undo that, then if we tab back into object mode, we can see that we're down to 1,200 tries. So just adding those little curves really adds quite a bit of polygons. So what we want to do, I think, is get everything in place and then see where we need it. Target specific areas that we really think is going to add to the overall effect of the vehicle and add our extra polygons there. So if I began adding bevels to every edge along here, we would get way up into the millions of polygons very easily. And I don't want to do that with this particular object. I want to keep it as low poly as I can and be as efficient with the poly count as I can be. So we're going to keep blocking this in until the very end, and then we'll begin adding bevels and other little details as we think we need it. All right, so let's work on this bumper here. First of all, I'll just block in the two sides of the bumper. Let me hit the 1 key and go to the front view, and then I'll hit the Z key and go to wireframe. And so we've got this piece here and this piece here. So let's block these in. What I'll do first is move this 3D cursor to the center of the grid, and to do that I can press Shift S, and then right here we have cursor to world origin, and that's the 1 key. And over here is cursor to selected, and that's the 2 key. So Shift S 1 and 2 is a great shortcut combination to remember. So I'm just going to hit the 1 key, and that'll move it to the origin there. All right, so now let's press Shift A, Mesh, Cube, and I'm going to scale down and bring this up. And let's kind of put this in place right over here. So I'll just hit G and move it over here. And let's scale it up about like this. And then let's see how we're doing on the side. We need to move it forward quite a bit. And it looks like my tires, my wheels are still back where they were when we first created them. And we've moved the image up some. So what I'll do is I'll just grab these and let's just adjust this. And this is going to happen as we do this. We're going to continue to readjust as we go. I'm going to move this forward. Hit the period key, and I'm just going to move it right about here. Maybe scale it down a little bit more. And it looks like it's pretty thick here, but I don't think it is. I think what's happening is we've got a bend in the bumper here, because look at how thick it is here, but look at how thick it is here. So I think we need to add an edge for a bend. Let me show you what I mean here. First of all, let's tab back into edit mode and hit the 3 key and just select that. And I'm just going to drag that over till it's about that long there. And I think what we have here is this bend right here. You can see that edge. So we need to add an edge right there so that we can bend this back. And then we'll get that thickness. So I think the bend is right here on this side of this piece. So I'm going to press Control R and add an edge right here. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we could do is select this face right here, go to the side view, and now we drag that back like this. So now we get that thickness, but we're moving it back, we're angling it back like this. I think it's supposed to follow the line of the headlights there, right? So I think that's what we want. Now I'd like to mirror it over, and to do that we need to move the origin over to the center of the grid. Now we've been moving the 3D cursor with the Shift-S key combination, but to move an origin, we're going to need to come up here to Object, go to Set Origin, and now we can move the origin to the geometry, to the 3D cursor, and let's go ahead and just move it to the 3D cursor here. So there we have it there. Now if we mirror this object over, it will mirror around that center point and hopefully pop up over here where we want it. So I'll go to Add, Modifier, Mirror, and there it is. Okay, so what else do we have here? It looks like we have kind of a box in the center here. So let's go ahead and create that. I'm going to go ahead and press Shift-A, Mesh Cube. Let's hit S and scale that down. And now let's move this forward here and bring it kind of into place. I'll hit the period key. Now, I think it needs to be a little bit smaller. Let's go ahead and hit the 1 key and bring it up to here. I think it needs to be about like this. It's hard to know. It really is hard to see exactly how big this should be. But what we're doing is we're trying to just put in just enough pieces here to kind of fool the eye into thinking there's more than there is. We're not creating an engineering drawing or a detailed, exact replica of the vehicle. We're just trying to get enough pieces in so it sells it to the eye. That's all we're doing here. And in doing that, we're going to hopefully keep the poly count fairly low. All right, so we've got this piece in. I'll move it up so it's about like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I may want to bring this up some like this. Maybe even like this. It's really hard to know. But I think I want to take this face here and this face and delete these. I'll hit the X key and choose Delete Faces. And there we go. So now we've got that piece in. I need to add edge loops here so that we can extrude in this piece. There's kind of an inset here. You can see that the cutouts are in. So what let's do is let's press Control R and I'll scroll the mouse wheel to create, well, let's create 3. Let's do that. And I'll click twice there. And then I'm going to press S and X and scale these out to the edge like that. And press Control R and create a horizontal edge like that. So now what we can do is take these faces here and push them in just a bit like this. Hit E, push in just a bit, and there we go. Now we have these extra faces here. Let's get rid of these. X, delete faces. So there we go. Now we've got that inset right there. All right, so we have that generally blocked in. What let's do in the next video is go ahead and create this piece and these insets or these cutouts here. And then we'll also create this piece that's sitting right below it, kind of in front, that has cutouts as well. So that's coming up next.